Hello everyone, and welcome to Honkai Star Rail's Anomaly Arbitration. Anomaly Arbitration is a new endgame challenge added in version 3.6. It is available if you've cleared the current 3 rotating endgame modes, Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow, with maximum stars. You can then enter this chessboard in the Astral Express party car. Before going into the rules of this mode, I think it's a good idea to start by saying that Anomaly Arbitration does not give Stellar Jades. What you get instead is a new currency, Lone Stardust, which is used in a new shop that contains mostly cosmetic items. As you can see, for now we have a pet, a costume for Pom-Pom, 2 avatars and a phone wallpaper. There's also universal talent upgrade materials if you're just not interested in the cosmetics. They also added Lone Stardust in the regular endgame shop, so players without access to Anomaly Arbitration can still buy these new cosmetics, albeit at a slower pace. You also get self-modeling resin, an interference key, as well as a bronze, silver or gold limited time avatar frame that showcases your performance in this mode. If you're a newer player that cannot reliably clear the 3 rotating endgame modes, or if you don't care about endgame modes in general, you should not feel too bad about missing out on Anomaly Arbitration. You are not hindering your account's progression by not participating. Now let's enter the chessboard and see how it works. We have 4 fights ahead of us, 3 knights and 1 king. To beat the knights, you need to achieve victory in no more than 6 cycles and have no down characters. This counts as 1 star. You get an extra star if you win in 4 cycles or less, and another star if you win in 2 cycles or less. These fights will have specific traits that make them harder. Beating the 3 knights will make the king fight much easier. In theory, you could fight the king directly without interacting with the knights, but that would mean facing a much harder version of the boss and having to win in 2 cycles, which is whale territory. Still, if you manage to do so, this will instantly give you 3 stars to all stages and grant you all the rewards. It's worth noting that the very first cycle of each fight is twice as long than usual, and that a cycle does not reset after clearing a wave like it would in Memory of Chaos. Your team also gets a damage buff after cycles 2 and 4 to help you get that 1 star. The knights can be fought in any order, but you must use 3 different teams. Any character, light cone or relic that is swapped between teams will reset any previous recorded attempts for these fights. For example, if I use Sunday and his light cone versus Knight 1, I cannot then give it to Sparkle to fight Knight 3, as doing so would reset my Knight 1 score. The king, however, can be fought with any team, even with characters you've used against the knights. The king fight has a selectable buff to choose from 3 options. Beating the weakened king in less than 6, 4 or 2 cycles will award you with 1, 2 or 3 stars, which will determine which avatar frame you get. So you realistically need 3 strong teams to progress in this mode. And now that we've explained the basics of the mode, let's look into the specifics of this reset. The first night is a 2 waves fight featuring the dinosaurs from Pinacony that you have to break for extra damage, and then the puppet trio. These enemies have always been fairly weak to break teams like Firefly and Rappa, but in my experience, you still need some vertical investment in your team to do better than 1 star. The second night is probably going to be the hardest for most players. It features Daughters of the Sea and then the Memory Zone meme, Something Unto Death. The big issue here is the enemy trait of this fight called Tempering. This makes you deal less crit damage to lower HP enemies and makes the fight drag on much longer than it should. This is essentially the damage over time propaganda fight for this reset. If you have Hyacine Premium Dot team, this should be a breeze, but if you don't, consider using your strongest team here if you're aiming for more than 1 star. The third night features 2 waves of enemies from the Black Tide. The fight's special trait makes the trash mob invincible, but destroys them when you kill a specific elite enemy. And in case you're wondering, in Wave 2, the elite you must kill to get rid of the ads is a Dark Sun Griffin in the center. Because you can't kill the ads, your team will get constantly attacked by AoE attacks from all enemies, which leaves you with two options. You either kill the elite so fast that it does not matter, or you get enough sustain to survive. And now we move on to the king fight, which is substantially harder than the rest. Wave 1 is the Sun Griffin and Moon Pegasus duo, which are both quite tanky. Wave 2 is the Xandar boss fight with its 5 HP bars. The damage and healing requirements for this fight are very high, and it feels like Hyacine is a mandatory pick for your sustain. Keep in mind that when the boss switches between its two phases, it gets a stacking damage taken debuff, so you will deal more damage as the fight goes on. There is also a bit of RNG involved with who gets affected by Antinomy, because a free ultimate on a DPS is generally much stronger than on a support or a sustain. Now I wanted to talk about my performance in this new endgame mode. A little background, I started playing 2 weeks after the game's release, and I've spent about 60 euros on battle passes and express supply passes. This should amount to about 100 extra limited pulls over free to play, so 1 or 2 extra characters, weapons or items. I've always been against pulling for signature weapons unless absolutely necessary. And while this has worked well for my Genshin account, Star Rail is not the same, and some weapons are unfortunately a must pull for specific characters. I also never pull for Eidolons unless the character just does not work without it. So far this has only been the case for E1 Aglaea. I've always been able to full stars Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow, some of those clears I post regularly on my channel. With all of this taken into account, in this reset of Anomaly Arbitration, I have so far been able to get 3 stars on Night 1 and 2, 2 stars on Night 3, and 2 stars on the King. I don't think I can go higher today, but with 40 days left this reset, I might be able to pull something off. Do I feel bad for not getting full rewards even though I'm an endgame focused player? A little, yes, but I also enjoy challenging content when there is a path for improvement. My opinion on this new endgame mode is that its structure is well designed, but there's a few concerning issues. As often, the devil is in the details. First, the unfair tempering trait in the Night 2 fight is just bad design and sets a concerning precedent for future resets. Game mechanics should not lock out 90% of the game's roster. You also take so much damage against the King that I honestly don't think anyone else but Hyacine can sustain that fight. This mode is very difficult if you're not a whale, and while a very lucky account with the right units and weapons for this specific reset can get 12 stars total, that won't be the average player's experience. I think the idea so far is that you need multiple top tier teams and signature weapons, but you don't necessarily need E6 characters to perform, and I think my account is a good example of that statement. And ultimately, because this mod only rewards cosmetic items, does it really matter? And before ending the video, I wanted to share with you guys the teams that I used. For Night 1, while I've been able to get 1 star with a 2-cost Firefly team, I eventually switched to my E1 Aglaea team and was able to get 3 stars. For Night 2, because I don't have Iceland's premium dot team, I used my strongest team, Castorice, to brute force this fight and get 3 stars. The third night needed a few attempts to get going. I quickly identified that Archer was a good pick to nuke the elite enemies, but the real struggle was staying alive. After rebuilding my Aventurine, I was able to get 2 stars. I wonder if the new Danheng can help this team do better and get 3 stars. For the King, I used, you guessed it, Castorice's premium team. I did however switch Tribi with RMC, which gave me enough oomph to barely get 2 stars. I might be able to do better once I've actually found Evernight's relic set, but will that be enough to get 3 stars? I'm honestly not sure. Most of the clears I've seen for this fight involve Castorice and Hyacine, but I've also seen a few interesting Finan and Feisho clears as well. And that's it for today's video. I hope it helped you understand the difficulty level and the requirements for this mode. If you like this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free and really helps the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.